What's going on, YouTube gamers? Bonfire here, and Halo 5 has been out for just a little over a week now. I've been playing it this past week, so I want to talk about some Halo 5. More specifically, I want to talk about both the good and the bad of Halo 5's campaign. Now first, I want to start with the bad, because I always like to end on a positive note and finish it off with the good stuff. So, I think Halo 5's biggest problem regarding the campaign is its story. Now, while there are a few great moments in the story, and it certainly does end with a bang, the story overall is just kind of blah, and it leaves you with way more questions than it answers. And that to me is really frustrating, as we're probably not going to see Halo 6 for another couple of years, at least. Besides, that's not even the most frustrating part of it. The most frustrating part is that for the last 2 years, we've been getting all of this awesome Halo 5 promotions. You had the E3 2013 trailer, where it was Master Chief. He had his cloak on. He had his Cortana's chip. You could tell he was searching for her in this crazy desert. You also had the Hunt the Truth campaign, some of those live action commercials, and where it put Agent Locke against Master Chief, and Master Chief is portrayed as this, potentially villainous character, and touches on this gray area. Is Master Chief a hero? Is he a villain? What's Locke's story? All of that stuff, none of that was in the Halo 5 story. Not one thing. So I feel a little lied to, deceived. It's a classic case of bait and switch regarding the Halo 5 promotions and the Halo 5 story. I think it would have been so cool to explore that darker Halo story where Agent Locke is told to bring in Master Chief because he did something and he's up to something that we don't really know what he's up to and what he did to be cast as this potential villain. And is Master Chief a villain? That would have been really interesting to explore that aspect. But instead, that's not what happens at all. And we get this kind of shallow story. Another example of how Halo 5's story just doesn't deliver is the two Spartan teams. You have Agent Locke's team, and then you have the blue team, Master Chief's team, and throughout Halo 1 through 4, we're led to believe that Master Chief is basically the last Spartan alive, and he goes solo through these games for most of them. And then here we are at Halo 5, and all of a sudden there's 3 other Spartan 2s and a new team of Spartans, brand new Spartans. Like, where the heck did this come from? How? Set this up for me. I need some backstory to this. I need some context on what this is. And Halo 5 story doesn't tell us any of that. Now, if you're someone like me who knows a little bit about Halo outside of the games, then you know a little bit about Blue Team, especially if you've read the book Fall of Reach. And those are some really awesome, interesting characters that never get explored. And they're kind of cast as just these people who just go along with Master Chief. They're very uninteresting, even though outside of this game they are very interesting and have awesome stories, especially with Master Chief. And then there's Agent Locke's team, where you do see one familiar face if you played ODST, but the story touches a little bit on some of those characters, but not very much. And I don't know anything about these guys. I want to know how Locke became a Spartan. When did that happen, especially after watching Nightfall, where he wasn't a Spartan. He was part of Oni. And the story says that one of the characters can speak the Covenant language, and she does so during one of the levels. And that's really interesting. I want to know more about that, but nope, nothing at all. All of these characters could be so cool, but the story does nothing to develop them, and you have no reason to care about these characters. It really seems like, as you play Agent Locke, who you play 80% of the game with, is just going through the motions. So therefore, when you're playing the game, you're kind of just going through the motions in terms of story. And yes, we all know and love Master Chief, and there's that there, but in terms of his companions who are kind of just there, I don't care about those people. Heck, if they died in the story, I don't care. Get rid of them. They mean nothing to me, even though they could be really awesome. Now, outside of this story, there are 2 other things that I really just don't like in the campaign, And the first is that this campaign was designed for co-op. Now, don't get me wrong, co-op is awesome. I've played a ton of co-op Halo throughout the years, and I certainly enjoy it. But my first time playing through the game, and every Halo you can do this, I want to play through the game solo. I want to absorb the world. I want to absorb the story and kind of just go through it myself and explore it. But in Halo 5, because the campaign was designed for co-op, and you have these almost tacked on other Spartans that you can play as, it's difficult to play single player. The enemies are designed to be cooperatively taken on, and there's this new revival system that is absolutely meant for co-op, and by yourself, that can get a little frustrating. The other thing is that there are a very few small sections of the game where you just walk around and you talk to people, and you walk around a town or little parts of the map, and you're supposed to explore and talk to people. No combat, and it just doesn't fit. It's not Halo. I don't even understand why this is in the game, why they couldn't cover this with these conversations with a quick cutscene instead of making me go from point A to point B. It just doesn't fit in Halo, and I don't understand why it's in there. So now let's move on to the good, because even though I ranted there a little bit about the story, there are definitely a lot of great things going on in this game. And the first and foremost, and I think was the best thing about this game, is the gameplay. The gameplay is amazing. I think the gameplay in Halo 5 is some of the best Halo gameplay out there, and it's probably the best gameplay we've had in a Halo game since Halo 2. Maybe even Halo 3 if you really enjoyed that one, which I did myself. The combat feels good, even the new movement system feels really good and still fits within Halo. And I remember as I'm playing through the campaign that there were a couple sections in the game where you get in a vehicle and it kind of opens up a bit into this wide open area, and there's tons of enemies and there's this big battle going on, and I just think, and the Halo music kicks in, and I just keep thinking to myself, this is freaking awesome. This is Halo. This is what I love. This is why I play these games. And the game is just so fun to play. A couple of things that make the gameplay so great. I mentioned the movement system before, and even though some people are criticizing the movement system, aiming down sights and all that, it works in Halo. And some of that movement Halo 4 already had, just in an ability or roundabout way. And I think it still feels like Halo. It's fine. It modernizes it a little bit, which I think is okay, but it's still Halo. Another thing are the weapons. There are a ton of weapons during the campaign. There are some new weapons. There are all your old favorites that you'll love. And the levels are plenty full of them. There are so many different weapons to choose from. It's fun because you'll get a weapon and then you'll use it for a little bit. Then there's always a new weapon or another weapon you can pick up to use that. And it just gives you so many options to play through the level to take down the enemies. And for myself, I love using a variety of weapons. And it really just hit that niche that I was just like, yes, this is awesome. And it feels badass. Outside of the gameplay, there are two other things that I think are absolutely awesome and really stand out in the Halo 5 campaign. And the first is the graphics. This game is a really good and beautiful looking game. It runs at 60 frames per second consistently, which, let me tell you, really makes the difference in a game, and especially a first-person shooter. The environments look awesome, and there were several times on the many planets you visit where I stopped and paused while I was playing and just looked around, and I was like, this place is beautiful. The people that did the environments, in all of the artwork in the game, did an awesome job. It's just such a gorgeous game to look at. All the levels are beautiful, and that just makes it an awesome experience. The other thing that really stood out to me was the level design. And Halo has always had that traditional, very linear level design, but Halo 5, though still linear, has bigger levels, and there's different routes you can take through that level to still get to the same spot, and it gives you options of flanking your enemies, and you can avoid certain enemies altogether going certain different routes. Things are very well hidden. The collectibles, the skulls, I mean, I think I only found one skull and very few of the data files, but there's just so many neat little nooks and crannies in every level that it makes you want to play it again. It makes you want to explore. It encourages all of that, and I like it. I really enjoyed it. Now, even though Halo 5's story is its weakest link and definitely will leave some Halo fans disappointed, I still think the game is worth playing. story aside, you could ignore all that. The levels are fun. They're very well designed. The gameplay is that Halo that you love. And I haven't even gotten into multiplayer, which is still pretty awesome and really good. Much improved from Halo 4. And overall, this game is great. It's really good despite its flawed and not so great story. So there you guys have it. That's my thoughts with both the good and the bad of Halo 5's campaign. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until next time, I'm Bonfire, and I will see you online. Hey guys, don't forget about Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, and hit that button down below.